of the domestic system itself. We've recently launched a new, we call it a grass-fed standard. What we found was consumers in a number of countries were wanting assurance that the product they were getting came from pasture-based raised animals. How would you know if there's a picture on the label or whatever? What we were finding was governments, companies, and consumers were increasingly asking for an assurance that that product is what it says it is and is grown in a pasture and raised on grass. So as a departure from our normal regulatory system, we established with our NZTE colleagues a standard for grass-fed agriculture. So many days on farm, eating in the majority of cases grass, and then that, provided that grower, that company can meet that standard, they get a stamp, an official assurance stamp that then can go all the way through to the consumer as an assurance as to the sustainability of that particular product, where it's come from. So it's probably an example of the regulatory system going to places where we haven't gone before. There's going to be more and more of that, particularly around welfare, animal welfare, and sustainability credentials. They're going to be called upon more and more as consumers expect more from producers and want to be assured by governments that the product is what it says it is. So hopefully that's a helpful statement. Thank you.
Thanks very much. What we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the speakers and then open up the floor for discussion. So just keep your questions for now if I can. Can I now just put a question to you, Gavin? Plant and food research plays a key role in agri-tech development, and perhaps you could talk to some of the recent breakthroughs and some of the collaborative projects that could be of interest here in India to Indian researchers and to producers.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. So we're here today at a food industry convention, and you would have seen many wonderful food products out on display in the halls here. But we all know that there would not be a food industry were it not for farmers and growers of fruits and vegetables and other food products. It is critical that with technology and the innovation we deliver enables those farmers, those growers, to grow their product profitably and successfully. So what I want to do is talk about some of the work that we've done over many years around orchard productivity. Some of you would have been onto some orchards and may have seen what we would call older styles of orchards, which have very large trees. Those large trees may be well separated from each other. Those large trees would have had fruit at the top of the tree and towards the base of the tree. They would have fruit at the outside of a canopy and fruit well inside. So what that means is that there is variation in those fruit in terms of the environments they have experienced as the fruit has grown and matured. And that's not ideal for a grower who wants to pick all their product and have a uniform supply to deliver to market. Our research over many years has looked at a new design of orchard, and if you went into a modern high-tech orchard, you would see many trees planted very close to each other in rows that give the appearance of a grape vineyard. A wall of fruit and a wall of tree is there rather than a two-dimensional structure, rather than what we would call a three-dimensional structure in an older orchard. This is not unique to New Zealand, but what we're doing in plant and food research is continuing to advance that system through careful control of the canopy and establishment of apple trees with a particular design that further lifts productivity. We're lucky in New Zealand in that we have wonderful conditions for growing apples and other fruits. And so what we've been able to do though is take existing highly productive orchards and lift that yield even further. So whereas New Zealand's average apple yield, for example, is between say 80 and 100 tonnes per hectare, considerable lift could be made to upwards of 130, 140, 150 tonnes per hectare with this sort of technology. And I'm sure you can see the tremendous potential that would bring to similar orchards in a country such as this one. Relatively modest interventions, huge impact on yield, great benefits for growers. Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly. The dairy sector is a cornerstone of New Zealand's food exports. And how is the industry adapting to global sustainability demands? And perhaps, like all speakers, if you could just talk also to the opportunities that you see for extending collaboration with India.
There's a lot that goes into producing high quality, safe and sustainable New Zealand dairy products. What we have found is that strong focus on outcomes, a strong focus on efficiency and maintaining flexibility to adapt and innovate has served us well. And being able to produce high quality products and being able to meet safety standards, but also in the sustainability space and journey. There are some things that we've invested in across the supply chain that have been driven originally from an efficiency perspective, but are also supporting sustainability outcomes today. One, and an example is the New Zealand invented its own cow breed, so the Kiwi cross cows. We did not just settle for Holstein Friesians from Europe that suit European farming systems well, but we bred a breed of cows that suit our farming systems. They're smaller in stature, and by being smaller in stature, they have a high ratio of a high feed to milk conversion ratio. Now that's very good for the economics of our farming systems. It's also very good for the carbon footprint of our milk, because with that higher milk feed to milk conversion ratio, it means that you have fewer emissions for every litre of milk that is produced. And the other part of sustainability for farming systems is that they're needing to have animals that are resilient to greater temperature fluctuations. Now these smaller stature cows also deal well with heat tolerance. So that's an example there. We've found that investing in good disease management on farming and biosecurity is also a good outcome, because animal health supports farm efficiency, and then that supports a lower carbon footprint for the milk as well. In the manufacturing space, our companies are continuing to innovate. We're needing to change our energy mix to do so, and there are many different pathways that companies are taking to do that. We're also working with farmers, looking at how you maintain efficiency for your farm inputs, and that also results in farming with a lower footprint altogether. I think that there are many ways that we can cooperate with India and the sustainability that the dairy industry as a whole is on. We all need to develop more tools for moving forward, for reducing methane from cows, and a tool that is appropriate for a New Zealand system may also be appropriate for an Indian system. And the disease management challenges that we have and that India has as well for livestock diseases. There's much that we can share from our journey in successfully eradicating some diseases or preparing for others. So New Zealand has, we were up until 2017 one of the few countries in the world that didn't have Mycoplasma bovis. which impacts cows. And then it arrived on our shores, and we've invested in a program working alongside the New Zealand government to eradicate that disease. We're also now in a framework working with the New Zealand government to make sure that we are well prepared for foot and mouth disease responses. We're lucky as a country, we've never had foot and mouth disease, but if we if it does ever arrive, we want to be well prepared to respond. Now, those challenges that we have and the work that we are doing in that space, there's things that we can learn from India, and that India can learn from us.
Thanks, Kimberly. In India, as best I understand, people generally know the name Kane Williams, and they generally know what zestberry means. I just wanted to say, you've had zestberry, the company's had success in those specific markets, and maybe you can share some of your insights about building up consumer trust and brand value in markets like India, and what perhaps New Zealand can share with India in terms of the Kiwi sector, and perhaps just also comment about the sorts of collaborative activities that you've been exploring with the community.
Didn't care for them, so we created a program to actually service and work with these front-end street vendors. Since 2019, we worked together with them. Started with a small program of 400 stores across 4 cities. It's become as big as 2,000 stores across 5 cities today, and we'll keep increasing that. So we've done that adaptation. We've adapted also in the way we sell the fruit. In many markets, we sell the fruit loose. People want to touch, feel, try, but where the conditions here don't permit that, especially for our very fragile, sensitive Sungold product. So we put that in a pack, and we put that in a double pack. That double pack allows for smaller quantities to be purchased by each retailer, so they can sell it. They buy only what they need for a day or 2 days, and they go back and buy more, and it allows for storage and fruit quality to be delivered to the consumer as well. And I think the biggest lesson we've learned here, particularly in India, is patience. It takes a really long time to get your model right. You make a few mistakes, and I think many corporates want to get quick results. I think we've been very patient. We've been here 18, 20 years, and still we believe we're still scratching the surface. We're not a top 10 fruit in this country yet. In some of our top 10, 12 markets, we're the #1 fruit brand. Far from it here currently, but we're in that journey as well. To the point around cooperation, so I think the part that the sales and marketing end of our business does is create the demand for kiwi fruit. It is a super nutritious fruit. And we know that fruit grows here as well. Our account is seasonal to New Zealand, to India. So when our season's done, there is an opportunity for local production to come and actually service the market. At this point, however, the production in this country is very low in terms of yields. The longest selling, most commonly available fruit in this market is the green variety. The variety is called Hayward. It's been selling in this market for 18, 20 years. Sungold's more recent. And that Hayward variety in New Zealand, the average grower grows 30 tons a hectare. Over here, the average grower grows 3.5 tons a hectare. So what we want to work, and that's the proposal that we have with our colleagues at the Ministry of Agriculture, is to support the Indian growers to really lift those yields. We've got really good quality systems. We've worked with our growers to perfect the Hayward variety over 30 years. So we know a few things about how to grow that fruit well as well. So the opportunity to not only increase yields, but improve quality, and all of that leads to better returns for the growers. So there's more profitability. And one of the great things about that is most of the kiwi fruit that grows in India is grown in the northeast part, which unfortunately is slightly behind in the economic development as well. So there's a great opportunity as well for a cooperation to lift returns for our growers, but also create other benefits in terms of employment, more investment in route to market, in supply chain, post-harvest facilities, things like that. So we have a brilliant opportunity ahead of us to work as both the countries come together to work on this opportunity to lift the sector, as it were, across India.
Did you say that the difference was between 30 tonnes and 3 tonnes?
10 times.
Thanks very much. All of us would have been in the inaugural session last night when Prime Minister Modi was speaking, and even if you weren't in the messaging out prior to the meeting, he was making clear the comment about India becoming a food basket to the world. And when you think, and to do that, and through the conversations we've been having today, India's looking for partners